Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to discuss how to connect MiVoice Business controller to a Mitel analog gateway 4124 and connect port 1 to an analog extension, an analog device. It will be extension 2101. Then on port 2 we are going to connect another analog device handset, which we are going to make extension 2102, and then we are going to configure this gateway in MiVoice Business so that MiVoice Business can be used to configure these ports, as opposed to coming onto the gateway and configure the ports. You will do it from the MiVoice Business and automatically your ports should be configured. And for this scenario to be possible, for us to be possible to configure our analog extensions from MiVoice Business in such a manner that when we do that, they automatically come and get configured here, we need to upgrade. We need to upgrade our gateway to the latest firmware. So what we are going to do is that we are going to use, there's going to be two forms of firmware. We are going to, the first upgrade, we are upgrading the package. And secondly, we are going to upgrade the image. This is because it's a 4124. If it's a 4172, we are going to do a third step of upgrading the DTEU firmware. But because we are working with a 4124, we are not going to do these steps. We are just going to do step 1 and step 2. So for this to be possible, we need to go onto the Mitel download center and we need to go and download some firmwares. The firmwares that we are going to download come like this. We are going to download this zipped folder, and we are going to separately download this DTU firmware, which we only use for 4172. But in our case, because we are working on a 4124, we are not going to make use of this file. So I will delete it here. And then the other thing that we will need to download is the image. So what it then means is that this is our package. This is our package. This is our image. So for this to be successful, we need to extract or unzip this zipped folder. I'm going to unzip it with 7-zip. Then it's going to give us this folder. So because of that, I'll delete this one. We will no longer need it. But in your case, you can still keep it. Then what we are going to require is this .tar.gz file. I'm just going to cut it out of, I can take it out of there and place it here. Now I'm going to delete the folder because we don't need it anymore. And then this DTU firmware, we only need it when it's a 4172. We don't need it now, so I will delete it, which means we are left with two files. This being our package and this being our image. And we need both 1 and 2 for our upgrade for our upgrade to be complete. So now let's go ahead and do that upgrade. So I am going to log on to our 4124 analog gateway. I'm going to log in. When I do that, I am going to go to tools here. This is tools. And I'm going to go to firmware update, firmware upload. This is firmware upload here. I'll click firmware upload there. Then package is already selected, but you can see I've got other options here. I've got package, I've got media, I've got DSP, I've got this one, and you can see I've got image right at the end. So I've got package right at the top, and I've got the image right at the bottom. So what is then means is that because this is a 4124, I don't see DTU. If this was a 4172, I would see DTU firmware on these options. But because it's a 4124, it doesn't have. This is why we are not using the DTU firmware here, because it doesn't exist. But we shall go ahead and upgrade our package. I'm going to browse our analog gateway firmware, and I'm going to choose this ta.gz file, and then you can see it has come, and it is now here. And from there I'm going to click on upload. Then once I click on upload, you can see the progress bar there. We have to wait until we get to 100%. The upload process will last about 60 seconds. Do not shut down when the device is loading. If loaded successfully, please restart the device to take effect. So we are waiting to see if it loads successfully. So this upload has failed, but I know why, because I have used it before. So this is why it has failed. So because it has failed, we are going to move on to the next thing. We will assume that it was successful. Then we will go on to reboot the system. We'll go on to reboot the gateway. We go where it says device restart here. I click on device restart, and the device is restarted. Device restart. Are you sure? Okay. The device is restarting. So when the device is done starting, we are going to confirm if it is now on this. This is 33831208. We are going to check if the firmware version is going to be this one. Let me refresh that. Okay, I log in. Okay, now that we are logged in, we are going to check our version here. This is our current software version. As you can see, it matches this. That matches with this. This is 33, this is 33, this is 83, this is 83, this is 12, this is 12. Okay, let's do this. I see that this is a 08 and this is a 15, so let's use 15. Let's use 15. I am going to delete this. Let's use 15, and we start. Let's use the right. This one was rejected because it's lower than this one. Okay, let's continue. We are on the right track. So we put this file. We upgraded with this file. Then we are going to follow it with this package, and then we are going to follow it up with this image. So this image is the one that is going to change this to a 15, so that we match what we are seeing here, so that we can match this to 15. So we are going to go again to Tools, Firmware Upload. This time around we are going to choose Image. We are going to browse for our image, and this is our image, my.co15 image.bin.bldf. Once it shows up here, we are going to click on Upload. Once again, it doesn't want to upload. The upgrade will take a few minutes. Please keep the current page, do not refresh or close it. The challenge that I'm facing is that I've done this before recording. I'd upgraded the analog gateway to this version that I'm trying, so it might not actually succeed because it is already on that version. So just to demonstrate, I'm just doing it. But if you want to see a proper upgrade that was successful, we go to the other video. We did an upgrade there which was successful. But not to say this is wrong. What they take away from this video is the procedure. If you follow the procedure correctly, as I am doing, and you are using the firmware, the version that you have not yet used on the same gateway, your upgrades will be successful. So don't worry about that. So let's wait for the progress. So at this stage it will say restarting, please connect later. It's going to restart on its own. It's not going to ask you to manually restart it, so please connect later. Let's give it time. Okay, it's now restarting. Let's wait. Okay, we wait again. We wait. Okay, it is back up. Let's try to log in. Now, there is a warning that I must change the login password that I'm using because I'm using the default of admin. So in your case, you should be warned and change that password. And when you want to change it, you go to let's see security passwords, and this is where you can change the password. You go to security passwords, and this is where you can go and put your password, blah 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 blah. You put your passwords there. When you are done, you click on save, and then you would have changed your password. But as we are not going to change password for this lab, so we are going to go to status, port status. We went to statistics, port status, and what we want to see is that all our ports have nothing configured on them. But the expectation is that when we configure the MiVoice Business side to be able to connect with the analog gateway, when we configure an extension 201 and 210, 2101 and 2102 on port 0 and port 1, we should be able to see 2101 here, 2102 here, and they should be registered. Just like that, automatically they should do that. And just to confirm, we go to ports. We can see we don't have any port that is configured at the moment. We don't have. All our ports at the moment are blank. So we jump off the gateway, we go to MiVoice Business now, where we are going to log in. System. I put in my password there. I log in. We go to System Administration 2. And in an earlier video, we configured a class of service for our analog extensions, and that class of service is class of service number 12. So this is our class of service number 12. Take note of this number 12, we are going to use it, and this is the extension for our analog gateway extensions. And it's very important to set up the class of service, because there are parameters that we set in there that makes the extension to behave in a manner that we want them to behave. So take note of that. If you want to know what parameters to set for this class of service, go to the video where this class of service was created. You will see it. And then from there we are going to go to voice network. We are going to go to analog gateway servers. So we went to voice network, analog gateway servers, and we are going to add our gateway. We click on add, and we are going to give it a name, a GW1 maybe. We are expecting that we might add more gateways as we go along. And our IP address is 192.168.1.4, and our username is admin, and our password is admin, the default one, which I have not yet changed. And then we must make sure that SNMP is tagged, although it's grayed out here. This is to protect from being deselected, because we use this SNMP to send configuration to the gateway. So that is the importance of this SNMP. This is why SNMP is here and it's ticked. And then just for good measure, we will just default the system data on the analog gateway so that we send in fresh configuration. Probably there's something that we no longer need there, or some junk that we don't want to affect our gateway. So because it's a new installation, it's fresh, we just default the system data. So, and we click on save. And once we click on save, this yellow triangle appears, which tells us that now MiVoice Business is talking to the analog gateway and configuring it. For a flow-through configuration. For a flow-through configuration, such that if I add an extension 2101 on MiVoice Business here, on port 0 for example, is going to configure extension 2101 on the analog gateway on port 0, and they should be registered and they should work. So now let's wait for this triangle to disappear. We'll constantly check by doing a data refresh. We refresh again. Okay, the triangle is gone, it's not there anymore. Let's just refresh again. Yes, indeed it is gone. Note that, take note that this procedure reboots or restarts the analog gateway. So if we jump over to the analog gateway, we look at the port status, still it's nothing. We look at the port configured, there's nothing there. So we get back to our MiVoice Business. We move from analog gateway servers, we go to users and devices, we go to advanced configuration, and we go to analog telephones, we go to analog ports. So it is analog ports on analog extensions, it is advanced, but of course here there is users and devices. So once we are here, expectation is that we can configure port 0 for extension 201, port 1 for extension 2102. We leave our interconnect on 1, our TNN number on 1. Our class of service we said is 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. And when we are done this and we save, if we jump onto the here, we should see these extensions listed on the gateway. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's click on change. We can do a range programming. Just to demonstrate, we'll just do a range programming for 2 extensions. We are going to increment by 1 to 101. We increment by 1. Interconnect we leave unchanged. TNN number we leave unchanged. We get to password. When we get to password, we are all going to change to. I'm going to just give a common password for now for all of these extensions 1, 2, 3, 4. You might decide in your case whether you want an independent password for each extension or a common password. Depends on how savvy are you, security savvy are you. Then I confirm the password 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I come to class of service. I say change all to 12 for day. Change all to 12 for night 1. Change all to 12 for night 2. And I save. Okay, there is confirmation of our extensions. They've been configured like this, and we can go to users and devices. We can confirm that we do have these extensions and what type are they. My system is a bit slow, so we can see we now have those 2 extensions that we configured here, 2101 and 2102, and they are